Hello and welcome to Radio Jamia 90.4 FM. You're tuned into your own show Teta Tet. Today, I, Sonal Vij, have a man with me who basically needs no introduction, a well known name in the wildlife photography and filmmaking circuit. We are privileged to have in our studio Mr. Amber Sharma. He is also the managing director of Delhi based Mowgli Productions and the fourth man in the world who directed a documentary on snow leopard. First and foremost, let's start with your parentage. Please tell us about your childhood, like where were you born, or recall some of your fond memories of your childhood.
I was born near to Delhi is a town called Muradabad, and the the memories I recall is when I used to go in jungle at the age of 5 years. The first national park I visited is a Corbett at the age of 5. Then I visited Central India at the age of 8 or 9. That makes me more close to the nature, and that's why I'm doing wildlife photography and filmmaking because starting with the very young age with the nature, so I'm still loving it.
So, like you started, getting close to nature very early. So, when did you decide that, you could have become other things like, conservator or anything. But why? Why did you choose to be a filmmaker and a photographer? What inspired you at that young age?
Well, in my young age, I never thought to be a filmmaker or photographer. I want to be a computer engineer.
Okay.
That was at that time when I was in class 9th and 10th. So that was a subject most of the people choose, and there lots of money I can see. But when I realized in the class 12, I realized that I can't do it. So, and I'd never want to be a conservator or so, because conservator will be limited to the one place, and a photographer and a filmmaker is I'm going in different location at different time of a year, capturing it up and showing to the other people what they are missing, while not going near to the jungle, near to the nature. So that makes me more into the photography. Click it up, show it to the people, and let them know the whole world what is there. You can share with the world.
So now you have a lot of photography and filmmaking schools. Back then, there was a limited amount of exposure that one would get. So how did you train yourself in this field, in this diverse field?
I was very lucky to start with that because when I was doing my wildlife uh, education, I was doing my MSc in wildlife. I was doing my research studies on wild dogs. So somehow I get into touch with BBC, Mr. Harry Marshall, who own a production house called Living Addons. So I met him up. He seen my caliber. He said, "Okay, come and join me up as a field researcher." So I seen the people there photographing and filmmaking. So I started with it, and it gave me a lots of exposure. That's the credit goes to Harry Marshall, who took me up into the wildlife and giving me a chance to walk. So this is how it started.
This is something which is very unconventional and path-breaking, something that you did. So how about your family and parents? Were they supportive of your decision when you said, "Oh, I want to, after my MSc, I don't want to do a PhD. I just want to, go into something like this." So how was that
My
experience?
father was against to it since I remember he never want to be me to be doing a photography or filmmaking. He want me to become a businessman. Like where I born up in Muradabad is known as Pital Nagari, one of the town in one of the India's most richest city in export. So handicrafts being export from there, and he says always go there and learn about the export and become a businessman. And it's not my cup of tea, sitting in an office, just meeting with the people and doing export. So he was against with it. When I left in at the age of 22 to pursue as my career in wildlife, so he was against of it. Within 3 years, I've become a known face in the wildlife photography, and then I start filmmaking. So then he say now it's a passion, can give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
So now they are happy with my.
Yeah. So, please trace your career, like how from education, photography to filmmaking training, what was the sequence like?
I never been to any school for photography or filmmaking because at that time there was no so exposure for the filmmaking and photography. There hardly a school like FTI in Pune, which give you the knowledge about filmmaking of a glamour world or a art world, not for the world wildlife. So during my education, I met Harry and Mr. Kamal of Jabalpur. They helped me out, teaching me the photography and filmmaking, and that gave me the exposure, and it goes on.
Okay. See, wildlife photography and filmmaking is like a very challenging task. So, like you have to be alone in jungles on your own, backpacked. So, share the challenges that you face vis-a-vis had you been in another branch of photography.
It always been a challenging job while you were in jungle because the area you are visiting up these days have been now it's the tourist influence there. But when I started at age of 22, there was hardly a place to stay, and hardly you have a transportation to reach to the destinations. You have to be like most of the time on a public transportation, which could be delayed by 6 or 8 hours, and or you have to walk at least 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers to reach to the place where you're staying at up. And the most challenge I face is during my snow leopard expedition when I was doing a project for snow leopard. We were at the height of 4,500 meters, almost 15,000 feet, and we have to walk 12 kilometers a day in snow when the temperature was like minus 20 or 25 degree. So that's the most challenging job I have done in my life, and still want to do the same thing.
So, recalling of your toughest assignment in case, I'm sure your life was also sometimes threatened. So, in terms of that, which has been the most challenging project so far in your career?
Again, it's a snow leopard, and I get fell down from a mountain cliff. I get fell down for a kilometer in a snow, and after that I get fell down on a frozen river and float on a frozen river for at least for 5 minutes. Okay, that's what I remember. I have a video of it as well. People filming me up falling down on a river and going for enough like 500 meters on a frozen river. So that was the most challenging and the most memorable job project I have ever done.
Okay. So what, you face such tough situations. What is that keeps you going? Is it your love for animals? Is it the passion for filmmaking and photography? Or what is that keeps you going?
It's both love and passion, and I want to see something new and want the world to see something new. I could do tigers, I could do other big cats, but it's being shot by the other people. So I decided to do a snow leopard, and hardly three people in the world did it, and it's fourth I am who did a project on a snow leopard. So that's what make me keep going. Is a new thing, new places to see, new mammals to see, and new things to do. Weight reduce.
So you've come across lots of people because you've traveled the world now. So if I talk about somebody inspiring you, who has been your inspiration so far?
Mr. I would say it's Mr. Sir David Attenborough, who works for BBC Wildlife. He, since my childhood, I'm very much influenced by him, and I never met him up. So far, I'm not so lucky to meet him up personally. And my what I'm following is Sir David Attenborough. He do the things very differently. He go the different places. He's the first person who comes out with the penguins, the dolphins, and he come up with the conservation part. So he's my influence, and I want to follow his footsteps. So I think I'm doing it up.
Yeah. So you have a very hectic schedule. I'm sure you're away for months altogether. In this very hectic schedule and a challenging situation, how do you balance your family life and work?
Family life is like I'm not married, so I'm lucky that I have not to maintain, I have not to be balanced of family life, and averagely in a year I'm out for 9 months
Yeah.
during the shoot and during the project. I'm out from Delhi, out of home for 9 months at least in a year. But as I'm not married, so I don't have to be worried about a lot, and family is happy. My father stays in Muradabad, not in Delhi, so they're happy. Um, doing some projects on my own and leading on a company. So there's nothing. I mean, they're not such a thing. I have to maintain a lot.
And what has been your happiest moment in life so far?
Seeing a snow leopard for 1.5 hours after tracking it for 15 or 20 days, and I was thinking to get a glimpse of it, but seeing a three snow leopard after 20 days for 1.5 hour, that was the most and unforgettable what it call it
Experience?
experience. So that's
You know, when you talk about photography and filmmaking, each day you see something new happening. So, where do you see, this branch of photography and, filmmaking 10 years from now?
10 years back, we don't have that kind of a technology which we have it right now. We were not having HD cameras. We were used to have the film cameras, which is a toughest job to use it because it would could exposed in natural light, and if you expose in natural light, you lose your footage. But technology been changed up. Now you have a HD camera, small in a size, small to lighter in carry, and you have whatever you shoot, you see it immediately what you have shot and how it is, and you can keep it a backup of it for ages. But in the film, you have to be very properly prepared. The footage is your stock has to be in air conditioned room. You have to be make it. You have to save it from humidity in summers. So that what the technology gives us is the HD cameras, lighter in a weight, and camera traps. You can use it now. Earlier, when we use a camera trap, it was on a film. So sometime when it rains, though, so the whole footage goes out of. So and now HD camera, it's rain, it doesn't make any difference. You have it in your SD card, take it out, put it into the laptop, and see what you have it.
But doesn't it also decrease the shelf life? Because, if you had a negative, you could, keep it. Or if you had it on film, it was a permanent backup that you have. With digital thing, if there is a virus or something, it just goes off.
Well, you don't have to put it your backup in one computer. You can put it up for 10 or different.
Well,
So
yeah.
it is there. But in the film, when the film get fungus, you cannot
Do anything.
restore it
Yeah.
because it's over. Once you lose it of footage or a stock in a film, so it's over. So but HD cameras give us the more option to save it up. Never save it in a one computer, save it in three. So
Yeah.
if one computer get crushed, you have two more backups.
Yeah. So, once upon a time, you saw photography and film makeup, you used to say, wow. But here you have like a dearth of people who are entering in this field. You have media schools mushrooming all over the city, all over the country. So, in your opinion, who is a good filmmaker?
As of now, in India, I prefer like there are two girls come up recently. They own a production house, Dusty Foot Production. They won a Green Oscar, so they have a new project. They're doing it up. They are nice. Mr. Mike Pandey, old person, known person in the filmmaking. He's doing very good job these days. There are lots of people coming up these days in the filmmaking. Not especially the wildlife. They're coming up with the other things in the filmmaking, ads and everything.
So, what qualities must a good, filmmaking and a photographer really possess to be called a good one in the industry?
The creativity always. There's always you have to shoot something with a different creativity. Then only it has a value. A person shoot a tiger and another person shoot a tiger, but how the what creativity you took into that makes it whole different.
So, and what is that you would aspire, you would actually recommend to aspiring wildlife, filmmakers and photographers? Something that advice that you would like to give them?
Keep working hard, and once you into wildlife photography or filmmaking, there is no time. A project can complete in 2 days or in 20 years. So never give up.
And when we talk about photography per se, what is that one thing that you would really want to change if given a chance?
In photography, what I would like to change is there's nothing I can change in photography, I think.
There's nothing?
Nah, I don't think so. I can change anything in the photography.
Yeah, and you are like becoming a veteran in photography now. So, who is your favorite photographer?
There are lots of people I admire their work. A person from Bangalore, Jen Sharma, who do lots of projects on his on leopard. His work is very good. There's a girl in Delhi, Ritika. She do the projects on birds, good photographs. I like their work a lot.
And please elaborate about your upcoming projects.
My second series on snow leopard going to start 15th of December. The shoot will start on 15th of December. Sec- Another project I'm doing is on tribals. There is a tribe in India which remains completely naked, so nobody so far has done it. So I'm going to do that project. That's again the elusive and exclusive project. Third, I'm doing on marine life in Andaman Nicobar, as Andaman has 537 islands. So there's a migration of wild elephants from one island to another island. They swim into the sea and across the island. So that's what I'm going to do. So these are the three projects to line up for the next year.
All the best for all your projects,
Thank you.
and we really hope to see some of your good work lined up. And it was great having you on our show.
Pleasure is mine.
And I'm sure the listeners would be benefited from your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you.